This was a waste of time. Anyway, what'd you watch? What's funny pun for that while I set up the time?
I have to come up with a joke, but I picked a movie with a really long title. Let me double check something. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Hello. We watched a movie. I don't remember.
One.
Oh yeah. I almost said I didn't remember the movie, but I have it right in front of me, so that's a lie.
You've already done that bit. Just not recorded.
Did I? Oh, today.
Yes. Before we started recording.
I'm still trying to remember the fake A24 title that I made up. It was a good one. It really did sound like
something not exciting happening.
Nothing exciting happening in my life, or nothing. It's like nothing exciting in my life, or something along the lines of that. And then we tried to figure out who would act in that movie, and then I realized I don't know anybody except for like 3 people in Hollywood.
Yeah, unless we've had to watch them in multiple movies for this podcast, you probably don't remember them by name.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I remember Godzilla.
You know, he is a very iconic figure. Kind of takes up the whole screen, you know. Mm-hmm. Really hard to...
Really demands the camera.
Yeah. Really hard to, like, share any kind of screen space with him.
Yeah. But this is when I realized, I'm like, I have no clue who Zendaya is. And then, as I was saying to Hop earlier... I have no clue who Zendaya is, and I have no clue who Tom Holland is, except they were both in Spider-Man, and now they hang out. Mm-hmm. By contract.
Imagine. I mean, it's not entirely wrong to think that of some people, because I feel like sometimes they have actors pretend to flirt with each other if they have movies coming out, and it's hard to, like, keep track of what's real and what's just like on the red carpet to get people's attention for a movie.
Yeah. Oh, I was just thinking like marital contract, not like
not Hollywood contract, but why not both?
Yeah, why not? Get all the money.
But I guess it is topical to bring up Zendaya. We didn't watch her movie, but she did recently have an A24 movie come out, and that was our last prompt for this week. An A24
to watch a Zendaya movie.
That would be funnier if that was your opening. I don't know who she is, but I watched this movie.
We can still add it to the list, and I will say that joke again.
You can make it a rule.
Make it a rule.
Change one of the prompts to be a movie with Zendaya in it.
If we tie 3 times and go over 26 minutes, then Zendaya is the next topic.
That would be funny. But yeah, so our topic for this week was an A24 film that didn't make the list. If you're new here and this is your first movie watch-a-thon that you've had with us, back in 2024, we watched only movies produced by A24, and it had a nice ring to it, 24 A24 films for the year of 2024. But of course, A24 has way more than 24 movies. So we figured we would add in, you know, one that we didn't get to watch before.
Yeah, to be fair, we changed the, like, we were halfway through the show, or halfway through the A24 one series, and I think we, like, very late, we switched one.
Yes. I don't remember which one it was for what. Was it, like, a shorter movie, or was it a hard-to-find movie? Or did you find out there was, like, content warnings that...
I don't think it was content warnings. No, it was Dream Scenario, because Dream Scenario just came out. And we were like, oh, man, that would
Well, we did watch it.
Yeah, no, like, Dream Scenario is what we put in.
We replaced something with Dream Scenario because it caught our eye. Yeah, I don't know. Look, all I know is I was looking through a list of A24 films highly rated with a tomato meter, and people love a ghost story.
I know that. I was the same. I was like, okay, I didn't realize. I don't know how well I can trust this person, but hey.
A Ghost Story isn't a bad movie. It's just so fine that compared to a lot of the other ones we watched, it did not hold up.
I think, like, okay, for people who didn't see the A24 series, here's the Ghost Story was the 5th movie we watched. The 4 movies before that were Minari, The Whale, Hereditary, and Moonlight.
Moonlight is such a good movie. Yeah.
All 4 of those movies are really good.
They are really good. All in very different ways. They're all dramas. Hereditary is kind of a drama.
And it's like, I agree. Looking back at Ghost Story, do I think I was potentially a little bit harsh on it? Maybe. Like, I do think it does some interesting thing. Like, it's a move. There's movies that I would prefer to erase from my memory.
We've watched plenty of worse movies in other series we've done. Like, we did our whole Halloween Christmas mashup.
Yeah, I don't know. Those I don't mind giving my brain space to some of those movies. I know System Shock wished he couldn't have never watched Santa Jaws. It was the most flabbergasted I've ever seen him. It was great.
Especially as someone who's worked in the film industry, where he's like, why did they do these things? And we're like, that's the low budget of it all.
And then he was like, why did you ask me to watch this? And we're like, because we thought it'd be funny. But I think that's the last thing he's been on.
We haven't really found it easy to schedule guests for a little bit. That's on us.
I think it's like, we'll just have to be like, yo, we want you on. We won't know the movie prompt until a week ahead of time. If you're okay with that, we record on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Can you do?
It is a lot of ask. Because when we would have guests before, we'd give them like 3 weeks notice.
Yeah. But I feel like, hey, I think if we explain the prompt and we had people that have been on, like, I think Knight, he would be able to do it pretty easily.
That's fair.
Blackjack would be a little tough to schedule because I'm in the midst of scheduling. Mm-hmm. I'm just looking through all the guests that we've had.
J2
Maddie
would be tough to schedule.
J2, yeah, he's like in transition of stuff. Like I don't even know. Well, he streams. I just think he just streams when I'm busy. Kathy she's moved on to bigger and better things. Maddie, I don't know what she does. So she stopped talking to us ever since we made her watch Marcel the Shell with the Shoes On.
Yeah, that's why. For sure.
And then John and Elizabeth, who watched The Lobster, they are also very busy. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's all good. There's a series on here that it's just funny how it's like it was one of our very early written series, and like it keeps getting pushed back, and one of these days we're just gonna like, okay, or one of these years we're just gonna have to watch it.
On our spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, it's the
2026, even though it's already 2026.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll come up with another prompt to sneak in there.
Maybe what we'll end up doing is next year we'll just be like, okay, let's watch franchises that are of the same value as that. And just get enough to watch for the whole year. That's what we say.
We did both just look through a bunch of different movie series for last week's episode, so.
Yeah. Most of them the only problem with that is I'm going to have to go back to spending money on movies, which is like, oh my goodness, really? That's a problem? It's like, well, yeah, when if you don't get streaming services and you got to shell out $4 a week, watch a movie. This ain't Blockbuster. But anyway, speaking about watching movies, we did the A24. Hey.
Smooth transition. And hey, you know what else has numbers in it? Dice.
Sequels? Oh, yes, dice. That's right. We're doing Pointless Discourse 2. It's a gaming YouTube channel. No.
But yeah, so we roll dice because we are tabletop nerds. We have a whole list of rules. We finally got rid of some of the rules because Itisdpayne really did not enjoy watching How many heads did that shark have?
Oh,
Six?
six-headed shark attack.
Yeah, so we did run a little over on our usual recording. So we have some rules that have been said to be gone, but yeah, we roll dice to see who goes first to share their what they watched for the prompt. We don't know what each other watched. We just know what prompt we both have, and we won't go into spoiler town unless we just so happen to have watched the same movie, and then there's a chance for spoiler town. So you will be warned either way. So D-Payne.
Oh, I gotta choose a die.
You gotta choose a die. It's your third week in a row.
Yeah. Okay. And you made the fancy thing
Dice
here,
counter. Yeah.
which I can see that the D10 is the only one that has not been rolled more than once.
Yeah, I think we used it to try and tiebreaker last week, but I didn't count that.
Yes. Yeah. The tiebreaker ones don't count, and I don't remember that. So you get to roll with advantage because we did not get rid of that. Yes.
And lowest roll will get to talk about their movie first.
Yes.
So
those are the important ones. If
roll
anyone is
twice.
worried about all the rules, then just scroll below or look below in the description.
All right. With my advantage, the lowest I rolled was a 5.
Okay. I was like, if you rolled higher than me, then that means you rolled the two highest numbers on the die. I rolled an 8. So you win.
It's my
that
turn.
means I gotta make a rule. If we tie 3 times, we undo all the lost rules now. Let's see. The thing that just popped in my head was like, when you lose, you have to give a compliment to the winner, which reminds me of like, what was it? It was I think there's a clip I have somewhere back when we used to stream together of it's just, oh, I see it right there.
Like a
Supportive
redemption.
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I had ideas all the previous weeks, and now I can't think of anything. So I think where am I typing? Oh, there we go. If you lose, I don't know if that's how you spell lose. Lose only has one O.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're loose, like a loose
Yeah.
cannon.
You must look up a random fact of the day and share.
Oh, right. I have to come up with a joke with my movie title.
Yep.
I
So,
have a really long movie title.
Oh, so we did not watch the same movie.
Okay.
My title is very short. Hey. Random fact of the day. Oh, I don't know if I want AI to give it to me. So even though I don't have a choice to like say no. 300 crazy fun facts to start your day. Hey Hop, give me a number between 1 and 300.
12.
I just realized that they aren't numbered.
Why would they do that to you? All right, then
okay.
1.
Oh, hold on. I found there was like a whole thing here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. This one's like 2 underneath 12 on this little color thing.
Okay.
But I think it's fun. Sonic the Hedgehog isn't his full name.
Do you know what it is off the top of your head?
It doesn't tell me that. Okay.
Oh, you're just supposed to live with the fact that
What?
it's not, and then move on with your day?
Yeah, I'm gonna look at what is Sonic the
I hope it's just Junior is in there.
It's like Sonic Jr. the Hedgehog.
Yeah. Sonic William the Hedgehog.
Alright, so I'm on the wiki. I can't find. There's the actors, real world designer, appearances.
Did you get lied to?
Maybe.
Fun fact: this fact is a lie.
Oh wait, maybe it's on the Wikipedia. Let's look at the Wikipedia. Go Wikipedia. Okay, this also is not quickly. I saw Santa Claus and Michael Jackson and Bill Clinton all in the same paragraph.
Has Sonic made appearances with all of them?
I don't know. Oh, here we go. Prima Games. What is Sonic the Hedgehog's real name? What is Sonic the Hedgehog called? Blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh. His real name is... I don't even know how to pronounce this. Ogilville Maurice Hedgehog.
Too formal. He'll always be Sonic in my heart.
Based on the research, Maurice is the name of his grandfather who passed down to Sonic from the Archie comics, which some claim are not canon, and Ogilville seems to be his other name from his other grandfather. This was a waste of time. Anyway, what you watch? What's funny pun for that while I set up the time?
I have to come up with a joke, but I picked a movie with a really long title. Let me double check something. There's really no joke I can come up with this. Because mine is just a full sentence. And, okay. I'm the one that wrote this rule, and I'm regretting this rule. I'm just gonna say, no, I can't think of anything. All right, here's the here. We'll see if you can help me. That's the joke. I have nothing. The name of the movie that I watch is The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Oh.
There's not really any good
without being racist.
Yeah.
It's better than being... I don't know. Yeah, you have a pass. You got to pass because there's nothing that's gonna sound good.
No, and it's like its own full sentence and everything. But anyway, so like I said, the movie I watched is The Last Black Man in San Francisco, A24 film. And what I would say about this movie is it's a very, like, almost similar in writing style to kind of like the Taika Waititi movies that we watched. Okay. Where it's not so much about his coming-of-age story as a teenager, kind of like what we liked about Boy and The Hunt for Wilder People, but this almost feels like a coming-of-age story for someone who's a little bit older and is looking for their own sense of home. So we have two characters that we mainly follow who live in San Francisco. And in the opening, you find out pretty quickly that the core of the story is around this character named Jimmy. And Jimmy is obsessed with this old home. And even though he doesn't live there and another family lives there, he's determined to upkeep this house because he feels responsible for it. And he has this friend, I think Monty or Mont, that follows him around, Montgomery, and I think he calls him Mont, who follows him around and like, yeah, I'm a best friend, I'll support you with whatever you want, like, I believe anything you say, you've always been a good guy to me. And he kind of gets roped in as Jimmy kind of tries to cling on to something too strongly. So it has that kind of coming of age thing, but instead of it being necessarily about like being a young adult, it feels like being lost like in your 30s and trying to find something. Very early in the movie, they have strong themes of like gentrification, about the poverty line, about how even though the whole town is called San Francisco, you have the different sides of it, where you have people who are less well off live in like this certain side, and you have people that are doing development and everything have taken over previous neighborhoods that they didn't want before. But all of a sudden now the homes are worth millions of dollars. And then how stuff is being like destroyed or environmentally unsafe because the land was cheap, so they did whatever they wanted with it. A lot of themes along that. So yeah, Jimmy is really obsessed with this house, and like I said, you learn very quickly he doesn't live in this house, but he's been telling everybody that his grandfather built the house, and so he believes that if anybody should own the house, it's his family. And you also learn along the way that he has a lot of like estranged relationships with his own parents. He kind of is close to his one aunt, but he seems to be living in a house with Montgomery and his father versus having like any kind of family of his own. And then throughout the movie, you also have moments where you see there's like moments of grief and everything like that. And I think overall it's one of those movies that does really well with how quiet it is, I guess is how I would explain it. Because as a movie, it's very like, there's some really cool shots and scenes where like the cinematography is really pretty and there's no music. And it's just like silence. And then there's other scenes where there's no dialogue, but the characters are clearly like interacting with each other, and the only thing you hear is somebody singing. And it cuts briefly to like characters doing something, and then someone like on the street singing a song in a very particular way. And it has a lot of like shots that you can tell everything was done on purpose. So I think it's very pretty. But I think sometimes, at least for me watching it, I was interested in it and it kept my attention. But because of the long silences, sometimes it was kind of like, felt like it made the movie a little bit longer without always having the emotional impact. Kind of like in, I'm trying to think, like in Moonlight, you have a lot of those quiet moments. But I feel like in Moonlight, they were used, not, I wouldn't say sparingly, but used in ways where I was like, you're forced to sit with feelings. Whereas this movie, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, the first few times it feels like that, it felt like that to me watching it, and I was like, oh, that's like a really cool shot, a really cool scene. Now I'm thinking about what the characters just said. But then towards like the latter half of the movie, I feel like it started to use it more and more, which makes sense narratively because the character is doing a lot of like thinking about everything he's learned. But because it's used more often, it kind of got to the point where I was like, okay. Like, I saw the dramatic thing happen. We can kind of see where it leads to next kind of feeling. So it's not necessarily that I didn't like that choice, but it did at times go, I was thinking like, okay, but like, what's going to happen now that that was revealed, or what's going to happen next? And it was taking its time, but it's not unrealistic because, you know, sometimes you learn something so big about something in your life and you just have to sit there and go, what was it all for? And I think that's a big part of this movie, and I think I liked it a lot for that. But I am curious, if we watched it in our big A24 binge, I do wonder if it would have felt a little samey. Because not to say that it's not just like Minari, it's not just like Moonlight, it's not just like The Whale, but it has that same kind of like heaviness to it. And this, it's like specific in its themes where, if I'm guessing right, the movie maybe only takes place over a week, like within its story. Like it feels very like things had to be happening pretty quickly. Because that might be a bit of a spoiler, but some of the things that the main character decides to do, I would think if it was stretched over a long period of time, there'd be bigger consequences. So I think the movie is a pretty compact timeline, and I think we see that a little bit with some of the other movies we've watched, right? Like Past Lives, while it does jump between timelines, every time we're with a character, it's a very like it's just like a 24 to 48 hour like window each time. Or kind of like I said, the Taika movies, where it's kind of just the story within a pretty tight context to like fulfill the emotional impact of whatever that event is. So Yeah, I do think I'm glad that I watched it now and not necessarily then. Uh, Also because after some of the recent movies we've watched, this is a nice little like movie, like a
Yeah.
nice like
Little rebreather.
yeah, a little rebreather to remind myself that like what did we watch before? Yeah, last week I watched
Oh, I have it all right here. You watch Paddington in Peru, The Crow, uh,
The
The Substance,
Substance.
Event Horizon, Dungeon Dragons, Barbarella.
Yeah, so not to say all of those movies were not like big winners. Like I did really like The Substance, and I thought Paddington was fun, but apparently that Paddington I watched is not the best of the Paddingtons.
I want to let you know, I got so many ads for Paddington after we talked about Paddington.
Look, they're always listening. They've got to be listening. But yeah, but something about having a movie like I think The Last Man Black Man in San Francisco feels like one of those movies where it's character driven again, and I think that's where it feels nice to like kind of sit with a movie and just sit with characters. And I do know that when we were watching A24, you and I kind of got like, how many more character driven movies can we watch in a row before we get kind of like, where's the action? Because I know when we watched Ip Man, we were like, no, thank you, just punch you.
Yeah.
Like, it is nice to have movies like this to watch, but I know I learned when we did A24, watching only these kinds of movies does get kind of like,
Tiresome.
yeah, not in a negative way, but in a way that's like you can only have so much empathy week to week to week to spend on things.
Yeah.
Versus having like there's nothing wrong with entertainment that makes you think, and then there's also nothing wrong with entertainment that makes you not think. But I think it's better to have a balance.
You need a blend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Balance. Yeah.
So I think with some of the like last few movies I watched, this is a nice one where I'm like, the plot doesn't actually have to go anywhere. I'm actually just invested in what's happening on the screen and what's happening to these characters, even if, because it's a character driven story. Is it a little vague? Sure. Is it told kind of in a sequence that sometimes things are confusing? Yeah, but that's also like real life reveals, right? So I know there was a little while where I was like, that can't be true. And it's not officially revealed until like the last quarter of the movie. And I was like, okay, that's what I figured. And it makes sense why all the characters bought into it for, all these different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So I would recommend it. I would just say that it is definitely not something you throw on and multitask with, and it's definitely not a movie for you to like watch right before you go to bed. Not to say it demands
From personal
attention.
experience.
No, I watched it maybe while I was working today. But yeah, not to say like it's bad or anything, but I do think it's a movie that deserves like the attention because there's little things in it that even I didn't watch it while I was tired, but there were moments that I had to rewind it because I was like, wait a second, did they say what I think they said? But not in like a bad way, but it hinted at something else that leads into learning more about the characters and their choices. Because I would also say this movie is full of characters that are unlikable. Not in a way that like you don't root for them, but in a way that's like they keep making choices and you go, why would you do that? But then because the movie is set up the way it is, you're like, I can empathize, but I would never. Which I feel like we've said about a lot of the A24 movies we've liked.
Yeah. Side note, how you said, oh, it feels like Minari. It feels a little bit like Moonlight, but not. I clicked on the producers. 2 of them produced Moonlight, and the last one produced Minari.
So there was probably influence there. I believe if I read correctly, the director and the writer were good friends and based
I
the
saw that on
childhood
Wikipedia.
on the main actor who uses his name as his character role as well as like his own.
Yeah, because he wrote. Did they both write? They wrote it together. Yeah, Jimmy Fails, and Joe Talbot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Yeah. How much time I got left on that timer?
I think you got like 10. Well, you had 10 minutes. A little. Oh, that's not the timer. You got 7.5 minutes.
7.5. All right. Let me go through some of the quotes then. Because I think this movie. Oh, not a lot of people have contributed quotes. I wonder if this is one of those movies that's like slipped under the radar for A24. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I enjoyed it. And it has moments in it that I was like, oof. But I guess what I would say. Yeah, there's not a lot of quotes. Yeah, I think if you like those kind of like slower movies that really take their time to make you like kind of inspect what makes a person and make them make decisions as like offbeat as they may seem, I think this is a movie that you could like. It's also like one of those movies that's a little artsy. It's very like beautifully shot. Like if anyone made a poster of certain scenes from the movie, I'm sure like I'd be willing to buy them because some of the lighting's really gorgeous and some of the framing for things are very gorgeous. It also takes advantage a lot of like zooming into things, and I feel like I haven't watched a movie doing that in a little bit with some of the prompts that we've had. Like I remember there's a scene with the main character's father, and he's in an apartment, and you know the main character is going to go visit his father, but he doesn't realize he's like up in a window, and as the main character walks away, it pans up slowly, and you just see this tiny little square of someone like hanging out in it, and then it zooms in slowly, and you're like, oh, that's his dad. And then you have a dialogue shortly after where the main character lies about something, and then the father character is like, I saw you from the window. You're just a liar. You're a little liar. And the main character is just like, oh. Like, so it has some really cool cinematic things to it. But yeah, I wanted to see if I could find some of the quotes because there's a, like, it almost has like a movie within a movie. The ending portion of the movie is a play put on by the character named Montgomery that kind of, I think, does the whole wrapping up all of the themes into one final story. And the name of that play is the name of the movie. Okay. And I wanted to see if there were quotes from there because it was, like, pretty powerful. There's a death of a character in the movie, and while he's not one of the main two characters, he kind of ends up being this really interesting symbol of, like, at the time for 2019, you know, phones, like social media, everything was like meant to be online for attention and everything. Not to say it's not in 2026, but like, you know, it was in a slightly different way in 2019, I felt like. And there's this whole discussion and scene where one of the main characters kind of talks about how people online are like, R.I.P., we were best friends, and like the number of likes they're getting. And the main character is kind of like, that guy moved out 10 years ago. This person doesn't know him. This person never met him. Why are they using him for stuff? And like, how will we mourn him and everything, like, as a community? And I wanted to see if I could find quotes from that because I was watching that part and I was like, man, I don't really like that character, but now I'm sad. So, I don't know. I think the writing is pretty great. I think it's worth a watch. Yeah. I guess that's where I'll end it. Maybe that filled in my time.
Let's see. You got just shy of 4 minutes.
I don't know. Like, I think, like you were saying, we were both had that moment earlier where we were like, it kind of stinks that we can't talk about the movie specifically because we haven't watched it. And I feel like to talk about this movie would spoil the movie. So I'm trying to, like, go around it.
You're not alone in that.
But that's the thing with, like, this production company, isn't it? Where their movies are, like, the premises for some of them are so straightforward that if you talk about it more, you're just like... Because, like, Hereditary, when I explain to people Hereditary, I'm like, they summon a demon, and they're like, okay, and? I'm like, I can't say anything else.
Whenever I tell people about Hereditary, mainly just due to me talking about movies in church world context, but even just anything, I'm like, Hereditary is a great horror movie, but before you watch it, do a little research. Make sure there's no themes in there that you find uncomfortable and all that, because there is a lot of cult activity and a lot of like just very gross and looking things. Which when I say that, you're gonna, it's like saying that also kind of is like, oh my goodness, this movie's a bloodbath. It's yes, but no.
There's one important scene.
Yeah. And then there's
also,
the memeable scenes.
But then there's also like the family aspect to it that can be tough for people to watch as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then like the same thing with Midsummer. It's like, oh yeah, they all get high at like a foreign retreat and things go bad. You're like, oh, like what? And you're like, I can't tell you.
Let me tell you guys, it gets real hot.
But yeah, so I think that is kind of like a nice thing about the movies that we've been able to watch from A24 so far, that they do feel like I can tell you plainly, like I said, like the movie I watched, the last Black Man in San Francisco, is about a guy trying to find home and how difficult that can be when you are born in circumstances that don't grant you privilege. But the way he goes about things and does all the things, I'm like, that'll give the movie away if I like.
It's really interesting, the two movies we watched. I'm just say okay. That. So, but yeah, no, it is interesting. Like I saw it on there, and I just like the descriptions I read of The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Like I just wasn't like, my brain was like, I'm not in the mood. And it's funny because I'm like, you know what? I want to watch something like funny, like something close to like Swiss Army Man. Spoilers, I didn't.
The closest funny movie we got to watch was what, Dream Scenario, but it was more because we were like, it could have been so much more. Movie. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the funniest one that we watched was Swiss Army Man. Like that was just.
That's a good movie.
And then is it
humor? Is Life After Beth in A24?
Yes.
As well? Yeah. Yeah.
That was one of the first ones we watched. So yeah, that one was funny. I'm kind of glad we watched that one so early, because it was so early in the A24 life cycle of movies that it didn't feel like a lot of later ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. You got 6 seconds. Anything else?
Itisdpayne's turn.
Oh, the time stopped and it wouldn't let me hit the button. Yeah. No, I do really like the A24 films, but I'm just like, I don't know. Like I don't know if I could do a whole year of them again. Well, we didn't do a whole year of it last time, but it's just like, yeah. I don't think I would be able to do kind of like how we're doing this series and how we did the directors, because the directors at least we get a breath of like, oh, we get to see what's in there. But
yeah, like Kurosawa was like some action and some mystery and character stuff, and then we had Ito Lupino, which also felt like a little time capsule. And then, we had Ip Man as a little, like, cleanser, minus the fact that we are like, what's Mike Tyson doing here? Why are we in America?
Yeah. I would still watch them over some of other directors. I forgot his name. But, anyway. It's time for me to start mine. Wrote down the time. So, now, it was really funny, because earlier we were talking about Robert Pattinson.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, when I want to find a funny movie, what decided the movie I was going to watch was two things. The fact that it was on Canopy, and the second, it had Robert Pattinson in it. And I was like, you know what? He surprises me every time I see it. Let's watch his movie. And I watched the movie High Life.
I thought about watching it, yeah.
It was on our list last time.
As like one of the maybes?
Yes.
Okay.
So that is what I did for what movie I was going to watch. I was like, let me look at the movies that we wrote down that we wanted to watch, or was an honorable mention, but we just didn't get to. Because I did think about watching To Highest to Lowest, but I'm like, I don't feel like watching a remake of a movie I pretty much just saw.
Yeah, it was only a few months ago that like we watched it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, next month will be a year, but
It feels that series does not feel that old.
I know, and so it was like one of those things where I'm like, okay, I do like Spike Lee, I do like From High to Low. I don't know if I'm ready to dive back into that story, mainly because I just really think Akira Kurosawa's I think like besides Akira, I think that's like one of the other ones I liked all of those movies that we watched of his.
Oh yeah, you do like a slower drama focusing on one character, so you probably would also like The Last Man on in San Francisco. But anyway, yes.
Yes. So High Life, as you were saying with your movie, how's people trying to find like home? High Life is the opposite. High Life is people who have no home and against their will have isolation forced upon them. So High Life, the premise of this is we are following a group of criminals that signed up, in big parentheses signed up, to do this scientific study where pretty much they are flying to a black hole, and they're trying to fly. I think eventually they're pretty much trying to get information and study this black hole, and I think eventually go into it.
It's like always a good idea.
Yeah. So they're there, but then there's this whole second mission that this one, because there's a captain and then the doctor, which they're both. The doctor also has her own criminal stuff that is stuff that's revealed later. The captain, we don't really learn much about the captain, but essentially, while they're on the ship, they're also trying to find out, hey, can we procreate in space and have the child survive? And so while they are in space, they are pretty much having the men masturbate and then injecting it into the women.
Okay.
And none of that whole sequence is ever on camera. It's like it shows a couple of it's not like we don't see like any of the actions like, oh man, here's a 30-second scene of someone masturbating. Like we don't see that. We don't see the syringe and all the bits that go on with that.
It's just spoken about.
Yeah. But we do, like, there's some parts where it's in procedures and they're like talking, but they're not showing the procedure. But the thing about this movie is when it starts off, it shows Robert Pattinson walking around a ship on his own with a child, like a baby.
So we know it works.
Yes. And then it's kind of like Robert Pattinson's character which was cracking me up because his name is Monty. So when you kept saying Mont, I'm like, hold up.
Let me double check my movie.
Yeah. It's him talking about his stuff. And like, so everyone that's in this movie, like all the criminals, they're not like murderers. But okay, so one of them has a manslaughter charge, and that's like but it's not like first or second degree murder. And none of, like, all of them are like almost petty or lower crimes and stuff, and it's just like they were pretty much like, hey, you're gonna spend it's implied that they're like, hey, you're gonna spend years and years in jail, or you can do this. And it's like, yeah, you'll do this and you'll come back. And then they all realize, hey, we're not coming back. So, but pretty much this whole movie, like as we're going through, Monty, he is the only one that isn't pretty much forced to masturbate in this movie. He chose, like, I don't think it's at the start. If, like, it doesn't show, like, the beginning stuff because it's something that they kind of go through. He's the only one that doesn't do it because he pretty much demand, like, he's like, no, I'm staying celibate. He's like, I'm not doing this. And so he, for some reason, the doctor respects him in this whole manner of like, no, you don't have to do this whole thing. And they have a thing called the box, which is like this other way to get their, and it's like the whole crew goes in there, the criminals, the doctor, I think the captain also goes in there, but it's like this box that they go into and get all their like sexual desires worked out. And he's like, I went in at first and it's like it was the worst thing in my life, and after that he's like, I chose to abstain. And so that's why he doesn't have to do all that. So all this is setting up where it's like we're seeing that this spaceship is on the verge of dying, and he is already looked a little bit as an outsider from certain people because it's like he's not taking part in the science experiment. He's just, and so like the guys, some of them are like, dude, you're a weirdo, don't know why you don't want to do this. And then some of the women, they're just like they don't really respect him either because it's just like why are you even here? This is like part of the mission. And then Mia Goth's character who's in there, which I think I'm just learning, I just don't think I'm a fan of Mia Goth because I'm like, her character isn't bad and there's nothing wrong with her. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm just watching another Pearl.
Oh, like her character feels the same.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just maybe because I just don't like Pearl and X, and so
you see her and you go,
yeah, and it's just like it almost feels similar.
Like the role.
Yeah, like because she's also like the most outspoken, the most one that's like, no, I'm not giving into this as well, but like she's not given the choice. And so she's doing everything she can to not get pregnant, and she's like pretty much just very against the idea, but at the same time it's like doesn't really have much say in the matter as well, so it because of just what they're signed up to do. So but yeah, but anyway, it's as we go through, we see kind of the events leading up to the where we're at, like current day, and Monty, he's just like he's part of the crew. He's trying to make sure he's kind of like this awkward, silent, but also trying to keep the peace between everybody. Like he listens to everyone, does everything. I forget, they have a nickname for him, but I forget what it is, but it's like pretty much because he's just like, no, I'm going to go work in the garden. I'm going to do this. And he's not very outward in his emotions. It's like, it's very much internal. So they're like, they pretty much, I wish I could remember the nickname, but it's a very like kind of Buddha-esque Zen style where he's just like, no, this is what I'm going to do. And he learns like everything in the ship and is given like certain responsibility where it's just like the other prisoners aren't supposed to be in certain places, but because of the way he handles himself and he's not really taking part, he's just silently there observing everything. And because he's observing everything, he learns how like the whole ship works.
Okay.
So because one of the other big plot points is every 24 hours, the captain needs to sign in, send a report to Earth, and when he does that, the ship stays active for another 24 hours.
Okay.
And there's a whole point where very early on he gets leukemia from the radiation of space, and he has to hand that off to the doctor. And the doctor, needless to say, she's problematic.
Gasp.
Yeah, so... And it's like, this is like all... I'm just kind of just circling the rim right here, because it's like going... Well, same thing with the... As you were saying, like the last black man in San Francisco. I feel like if I take any step further, it goes into spoiler territory. But this movie also was very quiet. Like, I think there's like 2 or 3 songs, but it's like we are just we hear the silence of space, we hear the creaking, the noises, and like the klaxons from the spaceship. We like the thing that was interesting is like we don't get a title scene, a title card until like 18 minutes into the movie.
Oh.
And yeah, and it's like that first thing, it's like we see that first 18 minutes is his whole first day, like his basic day of him taking care of the kid, him going and taking care of crops, him doing this, and there's like certain things like at the moment where it's just like, why is he saying that? And then later it's like, oh, that's why he was getting upset with the child eating vegetables from that part, but like from that part of the ship, but 2 feet over, it was okay. So it's, it kind of sets up questions and all that stuff. And just the pacing of it is just like, it's definitely a slower movie, definitely more character, a lot more somber, like just going through like, well, anything's better than Six-Headed Shark Attack, but the movies I was watching before this, Six-Headed Shark Attack, The Invisible Boy, Memoir of a Snail, Coraline, Dungeons and Dragons, The Last Starfighter, and like once again, like as you were saying, none of them are bad movies, but it's just like they're all kind of a little bit more upbeat or action oriented. And this one, there's like one action sequence and it doesn't happen until like close to the end. But yeah, it's just one of those movies of just like, okay, where's isolation and where it feels like humanity has turned its back on you. What are you going to do? And it's yeah, and then especially like, why does he care so much for this kid? And it's like, because like we're just introduced to him and this baby at the start, and we're just like, why is this kid so important? As you learn the history and what is happening and like what's going on. So it's a good movie, but yeah, it's definitely got some themes of, hey, you might want to just do a little look in there, because it's like nothing really gets to the point. There's definitely violence, and then there's the not implication, but the threat of a rape at some point in the movie.
Okay.
But it's spoilers for that. It gets stopped very quickly. So, but there's still
but the
that
anxiety could still be.
Yeah. And yeah, it's the one thing that's, I think, is a strength but also a weakness is we don't really learn a lot of the other characters. We mainly learn of Monty, which is Robert Pattinson's character, Dibbs, which is the name of the doctor. We learn a little bit of one of the other ones. I'm going to butcher his name, Ticherney, or Andre, who is, yeah, so he's one of the other prisoners, and Boise, which is Mia Goth's character. Like, and really, we only learn about Mia Goth's character because of just how loud Boise is.
Okay. I see
yeah.
why you said that, it's a familiar character for Pearl and X.
Like, for as loud as Boise is, Monty is quiet. And so it is a little bit interesting.
Kind of like a mirror.
Yeah.
Or yeah, like an opposite.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can really say until it's in there. One thing I did think was interesting, I was looking through the trivia for this movie, was so the baby is a 13-month-old, and originally they had identical twin girls that were initially cast. And yeah, they were there, and because that's Hollywood rules. If you're doing kids, you need twins.
For breaks and yeah.
And it says that, like, all the way up, like, they would not, like, bond. They wouldn't, like, anytime Patterson got close to them, they wouldn't stop crying as soon as he picked them up. And, like, every time the mom was gone, they'd be freaking out. And he was like, they didn't know what to do, and they were ready to shoot. Like, pretty much, they were like, hey, this is, like, a main point of the movie, but it's like, I don't think we're gonna be able to do this. And then Robert Pattinson had a friend who was a musician that they knew from, like, their school days, like when they were in school together, and he was like, hey, she has a kid, if you're okay and she's okay, can we possibly, maybe we can fly her in? And so they asked her, and she was like, yeah, okay. And so the baby is actually, and so Robert Pattinson knew this baby for a while. The baby knew him. So that's,
it was a much easier acting experience than the.
Which the fun thing is, like, there's a whole scene in the movie which, like, when I watched it, I was like, wow, Robert Pattinson seems very emotional. Of like he's acting really well, because it's like, oh, this baby's taking its first steps. Turns out those were the actual first steps of the baby that they recorded. And it's like, oh my goodness, like, while they were filming.
Imagine you get that on film.
Yeah, with Robert Pattinson, like, almost tearing up. So, yeah. So there was that. that was like a pretty neat thing. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of other trivia thing that I don't feel like clicking through, because it says it goes into spoiler town. Okay. And then yeah, then I don't know, there really isn't any fun quotes, like I don't know, this is what the doctor says about what's her face, Boise, Mia Goth's character, where it's like, when I first saw you, you were a filthy little crackhead. Now look at you. So,
oh, good. Oh, good.
It's like, cool. So yeah, it's a, I don't really have anything else to say about it. It's sci-fi, it's a thriller, it's a much different sci-fi movie, space movie, because it's like, I don't know, space travel and the heights of technology isn't the focus, but it's like really focused on the human condition, I think, in a slightly different way than I feel like other sci-fi movies are. And I'm out of time because I ramble.
You never.
Take that back.
Gasp.
But yeah.
Yeah, it is very funny for Robert Pattinson to be in so many movies where you're like, all right, I guess I'll sign up for the space expedition.
Yeah.
It's like that audio. It's like, if I had 2 nickels, it wouldn't be a lot. But isn't it weird?
Yeah.
Because Mickey 17 is a very similar opening.
Yeah, I was sitting there and was like, I like to imagine that when he signed up to pretty much be 3D printed,
in Mickey 17.
Yeah, Mickey 17. Mickey 17's the clone, and this is where the real one goes. I was like, thinking about it, it could be a fun double feature.
That would be very silly.
Um,
Do you think in any way that like they feel similar? This one feels a lot slower. Mickey 17
oh yeah,
felt
no,
more.
they don't feel the same. It would be a very jarring difference. But yeah, this one is definitely slower, more somber. Well, yeah, and talks more of like I guess would touch on like isolation, family, fatherhood, like what do these things kind of look like, and like humanity, while Mickey 17 touches more on like is still humanity, but then also brings in a lot more political and geopolitical stuff in there through the lens of, hey, no, there's only stupid aliens on this planet. So, yeah, it's the only really connection point would be they both go on a spaceship on a very deep cruise, deep space cruise.
Okay.
But no, it's as I can probably quoted before, I do like movies with more of a depressing feel, and this movie is definitely more on the depressing side. So,
Gotcha.
which is probably why I enjoyed it. So,
Would you say like I know I said like I was kind of glad we didn't watch what I watched during the A24 watchathon. Do you think this would have kind of blended in too much with the other movies, or do you think it stands out better on its own? Being in space probably helps. We didn't really watch a
Yeah.
lot of space movies in that big spree.
I gotta look at the A24 list, because it almost not exactly the same, but it kind of gives a little bit of vibes of The Lobster. But there's such different movies that it probably would fit well.
Okay.
Because like looking through it, it's like honestly looking through the list, if I had a time machine and go back, I would switch this out for Locke, mainly because I just know how much you loved that movie. But
That was also rated well, but anyway.
it was
Maybe my biases are too strong.
yeah.
It's an interestingly directed movie.
Yes, I think because I think that's what I've always heard about with Locke, where it's like it's an interesting premise. The way it's shot is interesting, which I agree. I just don't like Locke, which I think is the point of the movie. If you're siding with Locke, you should talk with somebody.
You should reflect on your actions a little bit.
But I will say I don't know if Robert Pattinson has enough movies to do a series, but I think that would be. Which means we would have to watch the Twilight series. But I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't mind starting on also the Harry Potter, or at least whatever one he's in there.
No, we can skip that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But but no, he wouldn't be. I think it would be a fun series if there's a couple actors that we.
If instead of director a month, actor a month.
Yeah, and it's just like, hey, what are their top movies and maybe ones that we didn't see unless we really liked it. So, yeah. So yeah, if there's a couple actors like that now that we have a couple years of watching movies that we're like, yeah, this would be neat, and to see them like their earliest movie, their latest movie, and two in the middle. But
I guess,
oh, yeah.
that does sound fun. So I guess listeners, you have homework. If you think of any actors you think we might enjoy watching, let us know in any comments, reviews, or other ways that you interact with the podcast, and that might be next year's list.
Yeah. I for some reason tell me I don't have access to the YouTube thing. What am I trying to log into? I'm trying to. Oh, that's fun. I was trying to just see if we had any comments or stuff real quick.
We had a few during the Legendary Director series, so it doesn't hurt to check.
Of course, now everything. There we go. Come on, stop fighting me.
It has to. You're live on the air.
I don't see any, so. But hey, it is fun seeing what series people like movie recommendations. A lot of people like that. Not a lot of people like space operas. At least on the YouTube ones. Like the YouTube one, it's like we have some that get almost like 30 views, and then it's just like so, which kind of makes sense with the wheel.
It is hit or miss. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah. So
we definitely don't. But speaking of the wheel,
yeah.
Is it time?
It is that time.
That time again. All right, so let me go ahead and start recording, and I will start clicking spin on that wheel.
Hooray!
I can actually read the prompts on it now. We've removed so many.
Oh. Well, that's fun.
I know. So, this is your first suggestion you made for the wheel when we thought up this idea. A suggestion from your significant other.
Okay.
Did you forget that this is what started the idea of the wheel?
No, but at the same time, it's like, well, what am I watching?
And that's the fun of a wheel, isn't
Yep,
it?
I'm like, this one, I was like, well, I don't have any, it's like, okay, hey, this is what I'm doing. I know she'll understand, but it's just like, it's like, hey, if you can let me know before Saturday so I can watch it.
Oh, timelines. But yes. So next week, tune in to find out what each of our significant others suggested us to watch for this upcoming week.
I'm wondering if I'm going to have to watch in another language. This would be funny if, like, we watch this and then we have to watch with the other. So now we have to watch both.
I did respin it after I almost had to watch Six-Headed Shark Attack.
Yeah.
And I said, I have a line, and this might be it.
Hey, you almost didn't. You forgot.
I wrote the rule and forgot about the rule. You're right.
I didn't. I think that's the cold open. But anyway, thank you everyone for paying attention, for watching,
Hopefully.
hanging out. Yeah. As we revisit our little path into memory lane. And yeah, thank you everyone. We hope you'll have a good rest of your day. Until next time. Peace.